You're watching Camnet News. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. We apologize for starting the news a bit late. However, we are here. Let's look at the headlines on our desk. Unknown CADRES brutally assault UPND members at CHARMAINE MUSONDA'S house. And vote wisely in 2021, MUTATI urges Zambians. JCTR urges government to introspect on why the country's economy has slipped to worrisome levels. In international news, Ethiopia conflict spreading as rockets hit Eritrea. In sports news, KAMANGA goes for FIFA EXCO seat. Join me shortly for the details.
Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time,
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
Thanks for joining us. The news in detail. A commuter rights advocate, Liswaniso Mwanalushi, has underscored the need to scale up the implementation of the sector-based response to HIV if the country is to mitigate the pandemic by the year 2030. Available statistics show that Zambia has 1,200,000 people living with HIV. Liswaniso Mwanalushi, who is also the commuter magazine team leader, says it is against this background that in partnership with the Lusaka City Council and AIDS Healthcare Foundation, they are targeting various sections of society, including the transport sector, on how the pandemic can be fought. Mr. Mwanalushi notes that bus stations and markets are mostly frequented places by members of the general public. Hence, they are targeting to test and provide counseling services to more since they have since called on the Transport and Communications Minister to intensify the HIV sensitizations. And Mr. Mwanalushi spoke to Camnet News on the sidelines of the awareness activity on HIV and COVID-19 pandemic, mental health and disability issues at Lusaka City Market.
Under the sector-based response to HIV, people need to know that the response towards HIV has been mainstream. So there's nothing like HIV is the Ministries of Health is baby. It's everybody's baby. So us like at the Commuter magazine, we are responding to this call in the transport sector. We are ensuring making sure that everyone is captured in this approach. Prepare Mamazi, conductor, taxi driver, bus driver, inspector, all those people who are found in my bus stations in transport, they need to be approached with regards to HIV. So the Minister of Transport, they have a master plan. And that master plan is a component which talks about their response towards the HIV. The Road Transport and Safety Agency is also supposed to play an active role towards the response to HIV. Vija ma driver nga twaenda kusakira ma license to renew the license. Vija kuma offices, we expect that, for instance, kuma toilet yao, they can easily access ma condoms. We expect that from my checkpoints, ma condoms and the HIV related issues can be disseminated.
The Golden Party of Zambia, through its president, Jackson Silabwe, has accused the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ of playing hide-and-seek around the registration of voters. Mr. Silabwe says the manner and attitude the electoral body is using to manage the voter registration exercise leaves more question marks than answers. He wonders why the Commission seems to overlook advice from several stakeholders to increase the number of days on the program, but instead it has opted to increase the hours of operation from the initial closing of 18 hours to 22 hours in some selected registration centers. Mr. Silabwe believes that the actions of ECZ would make one to believe that ECZ is not up to anything good, especially when it comes to the holding of free, fair and transparent elections next year. Mr. Silabwe notes that the latest pronouncement that some selected centers will operate at extended hours, with some likely to go 24/7, is a dangerous move, especially in a democratic country like Zambia.
As Golden Party Zambia, we would like to call on the ECZ to stop the night registration of voters cards. And the reason being that already online we have seen people with multiple voters cards bearing the same face, same materials, to ensure bearing the same face and same materials, and that is what is making us concerned. Instead of night registration, we are calling upon the ECZ to simply extend the registration period of voters to accommodate the huge numbers of people that are turning up at registration centers. ECZ continues to operate in this fashion. It makes us wonder if they are ready to conduct the 2021 general election in a free, transparent atmosphere. We're worried that there seem to be impulse decisions coming from ECZ, not well thought out decisions, processes and strategies to ensure that this process is a success. And I want to repeat the call that I made earlier. We want ECZ to succeed in this quest.
The Movement for Democratic Change leader Felix Mutati has implored Zambians to use their vote in 2021 to choose leaders who will work for them. Mr. Mutati says Zambia has reached a stage where only a citizen with vast and proven experience in leadership can change the country's economic landscape. The MDC leader notes with concern that numerous challenges the country is going through, saying that this can only change if Zambians use their votes rightly in 2021. He tells Zambians that the only key they have to a better country is by registering as voters and vote in masses to secure the much-needed change. Mr. Mutati made these remarks during a church service at Blessed Christ Ministries in Lusaka's Mutendere compound. We have the details in this report.
Movement for Democratic Change President Felix Mutati has condemned continued reports of political violence perpetuated by some individuals claiming to belong to a non-political party against their opponent. Mr. Mutati said such violence perpetuated by some hooligans in the name of politics must be condemned by all well-meaning Zambians because they are detrimental to national unity. Mr. Mutati was commenting on the attack of UPND aspiring candidate for Chilanga constituency, CHARMAINE Musonda, who was this afternoon attacked at her house in Lusaka West by suspected political opponents. Mr. Mutati spoke to Camnet News shortly after attending a church service at Blessed Christ Ministries in Lusaka's Mutendele compound.
Is that we are on a path where we are harvesting that in order to lead, we have got to beat. In order to be ahead, we have got to mend. And today is Sunday. We are talking about the unity. You can never be ahead of the queue through violence. Violence must be condemned in the strongest possible terms. Let's encourage differences in ideas, differences in political gathering, differences in opinion, because that's what builds society. You can never have a single opinion, not even at a house level. So if you can't have a single opinion at the house level, how about at the national level? I think that is pure thuggery.
And speaking when he addressed the congregants, Mr. Mutati said people have a chance to register as voters and make the right choice during the 2021 polls.
You can have all your wishes and all your desires, but if you don't register, change will not come. So the key for change is to register as a voter. The key for change that we don't have voter in UPND is to register as a voter.
And Blessed Christ Ministries overseer Bishop Molilombaso had a simple message to the people, which is to seek what they desire, it be in leadership.
Desire. Until one gets a desire. If you desire an office of leadership, an office of a pastor, desire. You are free to desire. You desire to be, you have an office of a political party. Desire. We desire, you desire to be a musician. Desire.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development President Hakainde Hichilema says 2021 is a year for political change. Mr. Hichilema says his conviction of change is premised on the sufferings of the majority Zambians. The UPND leader said this when he addressed a party mobilization rally in Lusaka's Chilenje area within Kabwata constituency. Details in this report. The United Party for National Development this afternoon held their first rally in Kabwata constituency in a long time. The party is said to have been notifying the police for months in line with the Public Order Act of holding public gatherings. The peaceful rally, manned by the men and women in uniform, had one main message, which was time for change is now. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema told the gathering that they have the power to change their lives by simply acquiring a voter's card and taking part in the elections next year.
But our headline message today, Nkanyarelo, headline message, it is time for change. Headline message in Chani. Headline message in Chani. Tavutika. Bantu bavutika. Amenesaka masao na mavuto ni nani uyo? Because my provinces yonse bantu bavutika. Mitundi yonse ivutika. Manyumba wose timagona nanjala. Because ngati nepa wako, mwana wa nepa wako wagona nanjala, ngati ndiwe muntu wanzeru na iwe wagona nanjala. Muvomera tavutika tonse. You agree that we are all suffering? I have never seen suffering like this in this country. Under Kaunda's one-party state, I thought we were suffering. But we are suffering now more than ever before.
And adding the icing to the cake, Lusaka Province Chairman Obvious Mwaliteta says the UPND will on Monday be sending party cadres to man ECZ voter registration centers.
Our police, they are failing to remove those cadres from the polling stations. We are sending our cadres on Monday 05 to go and man the polling station. Police, you should back my words. I'm ready to be arrested since I'm a victim. On Monday, we are sending our cadres to these polling stations.
These days will be quiet. We can be challenged because the phones are only open. This time.
But of course, there is no rally without music, sending the UPND leadership to the dance floor, including Mr. Hichilema, fondly called as Bali to the youths. Kalimbula. Camnet News, Lusaka. Economic and Equity Party President Chelufia Tayali has charged that the neglect behavior by President Edgar Lungu to discipline corrupt officers among his government has resulted in high levels of corruption. Addressing the media Sunday morning, Mr. Tayali has charged that the Ministry of Lands has unprecedented levels of corruption, adding that people's land titles are not safe at the hands of those officers. Mr. Tayali explains that he discovered about this misdeed at the Ministry of Lands when he went to check for a house allegedly bought by the opposition United Party for National Development leader Hakainde Hichilema at the expense of a sitting tenant during the privatization era. Mr. Tayali says leaders who smell of corruption do not deserve to be on the ballot.
These printouts were taken some time back. But just the other day when I went to the Ministry of Land to check on this house to get a printout, there are dubious entries. There are dubious entries on that. If you go and get a printout today, what you see, it's not making sense. So I am issuing a serious warning to those people who work at the Ministry of Lands, because there is also too much corruption there. There is too much corruption at the Ministry of Lands. A lot of people are mysteriously losing properties from nowhere. Warikala with your title, all of a sudden there is another person with another title on your property. How is this happening? And this is a clear example that I have, because a printout, that is a printout from the Ministry of Lands. That's a printout which was done some time back. I go there just the other day, the printout is showing something else. How? This is the same ministry, and some details are just, you would think that it's a different house. You know, when I went there, I'm like, is this the same house? I went to my source, I said, no, I think you gave me a wrong whatever. And he said, no, it's a real one, it's the same property. There is a lot of corruption going on at the Ministry of Land, and myself, we want to make sure that such corruption is gotten rid of.
On a sad note, United Party for National Development leadership and other stakeholders have condemned the brutal attack of UPND Chilanga constituency UPND aspiring candidate for the previous by-election, CHARMAINE Musonda by CADRES, from a named political party. It is believed that about 15 armed political party cadres physically attacked Ms. Musonda and two of her party colleagues right at her farm. The cadres stormed Musonda's farm in Chilanga just as she was about to leave for the UPND rally in Lusaka's Chilenje area, which was supposed to be addressed by party leader Hakainde Hichilema. Ms. Musonda, who was in the company of Juzas Sikamakami and Nakachenje Ward Youth Chairman Geshom Masaka, was ambushed by a group of unknown cadres by their ring leader known as Oga from Kalundu. Meanwhile, musician Brian Wembe, aka B-Flow, says he has reported a gang he believes are PF cadres to the police for assaulting him at Levy Mall in Lusaka last evening. UPND Lusaka Province Chairman Obvious Moliteta has described the act as unfortunate. You're watching Camnet News. We take a break, but still to come as other interesting stories. Stay with us.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me. Yes! I already know the secrets. Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time,
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
Thanks for staying with us. We continue with the news. The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflections, JCTR, says leadership is needed in Zambia to address her economic challenges. JCTR says currently Zambia's threat is her huge debt, which poses a real existential threat to the provision of public service. The institution, through its executive director, Father Alex Muyebe, is therefore calling upon Zambian leaders to undertake an honest and hard reflection on how and why the country has found itself in a state that puts in danger the lives of its citizens. JCTR says this reflection, the Zambian leadership must present to the nation and the world a plan that will practically illustrate transformative and democratic practices to address the prevalent shortfalls in the country's loan and debt contraction processes and in the public finance management. The institution further urges citizens to take it upon themselves to demand accountability and involvement in coming up with roadmaps of how the country is going to pull itself out of this undesired and dangerous debt crisis that has the potential of being a liability to the past on the future generations. Moving on in the news, Chikondi Foundation President Bishop John Mambo has observed that Zambian leaders have turned politics into a game of self-enrichment other than of service to the people. Bishop Mambo says most leaders no longer care about the afflictions of the people who put them in office and are busy going through provided their families are well taken care of. Bishop Mambo states that it is for this reason that most politicians have engaged themselves in war-torn violence in defending the seats they have. He says no leader is ready to vacate offices they hold simply because they made them as their only source of livelihood. Bishop Mambo is therefore concerned with the increasing reports of political violence being perpetuated, especially by those closer to the realm of power. The bishop has also noted that slowly Zambia is slipping into a nation of violence which should not be condoned by every well-meaning Zambian.
The people that I fear the most is the government, because police is government, from police force to police service, but they're not servicing. No, we are not trying to drag into this mud our men and women in uniform. Let us leave them alone, they're professionals. And then also they should think that they're coming from homes. We send them to school. They didn't send them to school. Of course, the state sent them to their specialized training and so forth. So they should think that we should not become another country where we should negotiate how we should govern ourselves. OAU must come in, African Union must come in and tell us, no, do this and so forth. No, we shouldn't. But the mood is high, and we're not healing this country. 2016 divided the nation, and now we are trying to bring about the healing. The report from the commission, which the president instituted, is there. And some people that were involved in it are now trying to cover themselves, which they are mentioned. In some countries they've been fired, but they have big jobs in this government. The problem Zambia have made is that you have made politics the source of employment. It shouldn't be that way.
Bwana Mkubwa Constituency Member of Parliament Jonas Chanda has flagged off the commencement of a 33 million kwacha road maintenance project in his constituency. The program is projected to cover 25 kilometers of feeder road rehabilitation. Dr. Chanda, who is also Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, flagged off phase 1 of the program in Munkulungwe, Kavu and Chichele wards. The project also involves construction of 4 new bridges across streams within the constituency. Dr. Chanda further announced that phase 2 of the program, involving 18 kilometers of feeder roads, will cover the rest of Chichele ward from Mwenye to Madando up to Ndola Kitwe dual carriageway. And the contractor working on the project, Hector Mulindwa of Northrise Engineering, pledged to expedite the roadworks and bridge works, especially in view of the onset of the rain season.
Bwana Mkubwa is this is the constituency that is so behind in terms of the road network, other services. So what we are doing in Bwana Mkubwa is that we know that roads bring development. So if you look at maybe more than half of Bwana Mkubwa is actually rural, like where we are here. So these periodic maintenance of feeder road projects, firstly I want to thank the government through His Excellency President Edgar Chagwalungu, because this project under phase 1 that has started in Bwana Mkubwa is going to benefit a lot of people. It's costing government 33 million kwacha. So this is phase 1 of the periodic maintenance feeder road project in Ndola in our constituents. So the roads that are being done under phase 1 are 25 kilometers. Firstly, we have 10.4 kilometers in Munkulungwe, the Munkulungwe-Tagagan road. It's a very long road with 1 bridge over a stream. Then we have the economically important, the Kavu Commando road, which people have cried for many years. So the Kavu Commando road finally is being done. It has about 3 bridges, just for you to move from Kavu to Commando road. That is 8 kilometers. And then we have this road now. You see the tarmac goes up to Mushiri Commando Barracks. From Mushiri Commando Barracks, where the gravel starts, this was a very bad road if you came here in the rain season. So from there up to after the bridge going to Mukorwe, that is another 4.6 kilometers with a bridge there, a stream that goes into Kafubu River, where people, when it rains, the water goes up to waist deep. They couldn't pass the next point where we are. So basically this is a very important project for us, and it helps a lot of our people in terms of movement of goods, services and people. So I want to tell the people in Mwange A, Mwange B, the people in Kav, the people in Munkulungwe, in Tagagan, this project finally has started. 33 million kwacha, 25 kilometers, and the contractor is here with me. We are implementing it through the local authorities in Ndola City Council, but we shall monitor this this project very aggressively to ensure that it is done in time, to ensure that it benefits the people of Bwana Mkubwa constituency. And I should also mention that there will be a phase 2 of the road project coming. So phase 2 of this periodic maintenance of feeder roads in Ndola, in Bwana Mkubwa, is also on the way, 18 kilometers. So that will be in the Chichele constituency, Chichele ward. So that will be Mwenye, Madando, up to all the areas, where the Golden Lay farms are. The whole idea is to open up Chichele until we connect the Ndola Kitwe dual carriageway going to Kidwa. Chichele is a big word, and when we open that road, it's all graded. The movement of goods, services and people also comes into.
The Leonard Cheshire Disability Zambia has observed the need to harmonize the disability-based legislation in the country in view of safeguarding the plight of persons with disabilities across the country. Organization Executive Director Kamina has cited the Disability Act of 2012 and the mainstream laws governing the education sector as those that do not speak to each other. He notes that while the Disability Act prescribes free education for persons with disability up to tertiary level, the Education Act only talks about free access to primary education. Meanwhile, Lukulu East Member of Parliament Christopher Kalila affirmed the commitment of members of Parliament to the facility for the enactment and the implementation of disability-friendly policies. He says they remain resolute to creating an inclusive society as enshrined in the 7th National Development Plan and other development goals in Zambia. You're watching Camnet News. We take a break, but still to come is international and sports news. Stay with us.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time:
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
Thanks for staying with us. We now look at international news. The 12-day conflict between Ethiopia's government and forces in the country's Tigray region has escalated. The Tigrayan forces fired rockets across the border into neighboring Eritrea after claiming Ethiopian soldiers were using an Eritrean airport to attack Tigray. Ethiopia's prime minister appeared to deny the accusation, but analysts say the latest attack marks a major uptick in the conflict, which has displaced thousands of civilians. Ethiopia has been through big changes since Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came into power in 2018. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize last year after reaching out to make peace with neighboring Eritrea, with whom Ethiopia had fought a bloody war 2 decades ago. But the widespread reforms he pushed through sidelines the Tigrayans of Tigray People Liberation Front, who had long dominated the political scene, and in recent weeks tensions between the party and the federal government seriously escalated. We monitored BBC on this story.
Well, we begin with breaking news and a dramatic escalation in fighting in Ethiopia. At least 3 rockets have been fired from Ethiopia into Eritrea, potentially widening the conflict. Diplomats in the region say 2 of the rockets hit the main airports in Eritrea's capital, Asmara. It comes on the 11th day of fighting between Ethiopian government forces and leaders in the Tigray region. The Tigrayan People's Liberation Front had earlier threatened Eritrea.
We will conduct missile attacks to foil military movements in Massawa and Asmara. We will undertake every other kind of measure to foil efforts to subjugate the Tigray people inside Tigray or other places.
Well, the TPLF have also admitted that they struck first, which prompted Ethiopia to launch that offensive in the region. They've also said they were behind 2 rocket attacks on 2 airports in the neighbouring Amhara region. Both sides are accused of atrocities. Well, the TPLF dominated coalition politics in Ethiopia for 30 years before Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came to power in 2018. Well, Mohamed Ado is in the city of Gondar on the border of the Tigray region, and he sent through this update.
Diplomats tell us that at least 3 missiles have been fired from the Tigray region to Asmara, the capital of Eritrea. 2 of those missiles have hit the airport, the Asmara International Airport, while another one is said to have targeted a building housing the Ministry of Information and a number of local media houses. But eyewitnesses said that the missile that targeted the Ministry of Information did not actually hit its target, but fell outside the building. We don't have any word on casualties, but what we know is that this is a huge escalation of the conflict that has so far been restricted to the borders of Ethiopia, and particularly to the Tigray region. Now it has crossed international borders, and it is something that could bring in Eritrea into the conflict, and very quickly at that, because of the close friendship Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia and Isaias Afwerki, the president of Eritrea, enjoy, and also the fact that the Tigrays have absolutely no relationship and have got a long history of animosity with not just Isaias Afwerki, the president of Eritrea, but Eritrea as a whole. This is huge by every measure.
Well, thousands of refugees have crossed into Sudan over the past week. Al Jazeera's Hibba Morgan has more from the Sudan-Ethiopia border.
Hundreds of refugees continue to arrive here at Hamdayet Border Reception Center. Now, this center is just about 2 kilometers away from the Sudan-Ethiopia border in Sudan's Kassala state. And hundreds of refugees have been pouring in here into Hamdayet Reception Center, with the number reaching up to 9,000 just over the past few days alone. Now, most of them live in conditions like this, out in the open with no shelter and no proper sanitation. And this is raising concerns amongst aid organizations here, especially medics, that this would create a health crisis. Medics say that most of the people who arrive suffer from chest infections as well as malaria infections due to exhaustion from traveling for days escaping the fighting in the Tigray region. Most of the refugees we've spoken to speak of the same horror, saying that they have seen people being slaughtered, that they've seen aerial bombardments, which has made them fear for their lives and flee here to Sudan, seeking safety and seeking humanitarian aid. Now, medics say that they are quite concerned about the number of refugees and the influx. They say that they're expecting more than 9,000 over the coming days, and that's just here in Hamdayet Border Reception Center. Sudan says that it's expecting a total of up to 200,000 in the coming week between here in Kassala State and Gadaref State, which both border Ethiopia, and it's calling out for the international aid organizations to help respond to what it's calling is turning out to be a refugee crisis.
That's it in international news. We now look at sports news. Football Association of Zambia President Andrew Kamanga has filed his nomination for the March 2021 FIFA elections as one of the aspiring executive committee members for the English-speaking bloc. Kamanga says his decision has received the prerequisite government endorsement and FA's executive committee. The FA's chief joins 6 other candidates in the race that is yet to see the sieving process that includes the integrity test commence. The slots for Africa on the FIFA Executive Committee have an automatic one of the CAF president, who automatically becomes the FIFA vice president, and the other for a female candidate. The remaining 6 slots for CAF are divided into language blocks broken down as English, Arabic, and French. Each has 2 slots for candidates to vie for. Kamanga says his credentials as member of the FIFA Audit and Compliance Committee, COSAFA Finance Committee, and a member of the African Nations Championships CHAN Organizing Committee set him in good stead to add value to the FIFA Executive Committee. Kamanga, who is a chartered accountant, energy consultant, and business mogul, says his professional credentials will also help add value to the FIFA setup. This story is courtesy of Zamfort Sports. On that note, we end this evening's bulletin. The headlines once again. Unknown cadres brutally assault UPND members at CHARMAINE MUSONDA'S house in Chilanga. Vote wisely in 2021, Mutati urges Zambians. JCTR urges government to introspect on why the country's economy has slipped to worrisome levels. In international news, Ethiopian conflict spread as rockets hit Eretria. And sports news, Kamanga goes for FIFA EXCO seat. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from 1 John 2 verse 25, and it reads, "And this is the promise he has promised us, eternal life." Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. This has been the Camnet News Desk. Join us again tomorrow at 19:30. Good night.